And we are live. Welcome to another episode of Business Focus Live with me, John, where we talk about business related topics as well as news from here and around the world. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and let's get started. And we're back. Thank you again for joining me today. So today is August the 26th, 2022 on a Friday. So we're now getting closer to the Christmas season, start of the Burr months. People call it. Anyway, so we have a lot of things to discuss. So let's take a look at our topics of discussion for this week. So primarily, majority of our discussion will be focusing on many of the streaming services that are competing for your attention in terms of how are they going to gain subscription and retain your viewerships throughout the entirety. So the first one is HBO Max, which is owned by Warner Brothers, which recently merged with Discovery Channel. So, but what's interesting is HBO is canceling a lot of its films and its TV series for whatever reason. We'll talk about that. Later on, we'll be talking about Xiaomi's foray into the smartphone, which is not anything new. But what's interesting is their copying or providing similar smartphones similar to what Samsung Galaxy Fold is providing. So we'll take a look if there's any difference or it's just a copycat here. Another is segueing to another streaming company, which is Paramount Plus, who's way behind in terms of pecking order, is partnering up with Walmart in terms of trying to capture more subscription with Walmart subscribers here. So will it be a profitable endeavor here, similar to how uh, Apple is trying to get Amazon subscribers to their platform, but that's a different case here. Locally here in the Philippines, the once behemoth giant ABS-CBN, which is in turmoil nowadays, who hasn't been seen for several years, is trying to revive its network or local network by partnering with another TV network, which is TV5. But there are, I think, as of today's recording, there are issues pressed on TV5. I don't know whether the ABS-CBN partnership will be able to push through, or the politics will step in and derail their plans here. And lastly, we'll be talking about if you have immediate plans of buying the latest PS5 consoles, which is there are good news, but there are some bad news. So we'll talk about that. So without further ado, so let's get started. So for our first topic, as mentioned, is HBO, one of the big streaming giants, recently merged with Discovery Channel. Now, for those who are familiar, I've watched plenty of not HBO, but Discovery channels from the time of the American Chopper, if you're familiar. Another is what's the channel? Bit Mythbusters, if you're familiar with that as well. So they've created a lot of hit shows in Discovery, and now merging it. Obviously, HBO has provided a lot of contents also, namely the Game of Thrones, and now the prequel. They're I think they started showing the first few episodes. But the question here is, will this affect their content that they're providing, and what's to be done about it? So let's take a closer look. Wow, where is that article? There you go. So according to CNBC.com, HBO is pulling dozens of its films. Actually, we've discussed it in the past regarding a almost done Batgirl film, and then they threw it out after spending close to 70 to 90 million dollars. If they weren't happy with the content when they started making the film, they shouldn't have wasted their time and effort in their resources in practically they could have released the film anyway. but in terms of getting the desired outcome, yeah, they've been a hit or miss in terms of their DCEU franchise anyhow. And then now they're considering not just films, a plethora of films, but as well as a slew of TV series that they're trying to consolidate in terms of once they merge with Discovery, so that there will be a distinction of their product content that is geared towards their key demographic for HBO, and then separately for their key target audience for Discovery Channel as well. So anyway, so Warner Brothers Discovery HBO Max is removing 20 of its original series that didn't resonate with large audiences. Now, obviously, a lot of not just TV networks but streaming services companies have been trying to find ways how to retain, engage audiences in terms of their content. And the interesting about this is no matter what identity politics or social media marketing that they employ, if an individual like myself or many of us, customers that doesn't like the film or TV series will not watch your content, regardless if it's a one episode or the entire series here. So obviously, finding the right mix of content, theme, getting the best directors, writers, screenplays, actors. You have to have a combination of tremendous people behind the scenes to be able to produce a tremendous show. So it's not just the title that sells the film or TV series here. Anyway, it goes on to say most of HBO Max is removing is reality or kids and family content here. So what's interesting here is it mentioned in the article that, which I didn't notice, that HBO for the majority of it is not catered to young audiences or kids per se, but they have HBO Kids or Family in their cable network days, or I think they still do now. So it's kind of odd that they want to, throw away those contents, meaning they didn't have any confidence in their production to begin with. But it mentions here they're limiting differences to cut costs and put forth a new strategy as it prepares to merge with Disney Plus next year. So maybe it's an excuse for them to cut costs and maximize their potential revenue moving forward here. What's interesting here is they're removing 36 films and TV series in its platforms. So they have 20 original HBO shows such as teen drama Generations, Sesame Street, and the spin-off also of the Not Too Late Show with Elmo will be removed by Friday. Now, Discovery's plans to combine Discovery Plus with HBO Max into a new service that will launch in the United States sometime next year. Now, how they're going to market that will be interesting here. So, according to HBO Max spokesperson, as we work towards bringing our content catalog under one platform, we'll be making changes to the content offering available to both HBO Max and Discovery Plus. I think they should still be offering separate contents, otherwise it will be too convoluted. And as mentioned here, that's why even Disney, the company, has different services offering Disney Plus. You have Hulu as well as ESPN for sports aficionados here. It also says here it's strange, or it may seem strange, that HBO Max is to remove series it's specifically made for its platform, which is kind of counterintuitive, meaning they didn't believe in it, then spending those upfront cost would have been gone into something, could have been used in something more productive here. Anyway, which means that the shows that they've created are full of little watch shows and movies, and obviously that's not good for any companies, whether you're HBO Max or even Netflix or even Disney as a company here. So maybe the motivation behind it, as mentioned, is to slash cost is one. Next is moving away from content aimed at kids and families, and lastly, decluttering the servicing, or meaning cannibalizing the content that eventually that HBO is going to primarily offer certain contents only, while Discovery is going to offer a separate content as well. So meaning this has become a similar problem with Netflix, but obviously Netflix is has only one platform here, which is Netflix, and the name of the game is, I don't think segregating your contents will be the key, but I think the end key to their success is what the content is all about, regardless of the team, whether it's a film or even a TV series at that. And at the end of the day, if the content is not appealing to you, to your, or doesn't resonate with your audience, then it would be a big catastrophe. And whether you're a TV network or a streaming services like HBO Max here. Now, uh, Discovery, Warner Brothers and Discovery executives goes on to mention that they are concerned that they may get back down with little watch films and shows. Well, obviously you want to create tremendous content, so it's not just about creating big blockbuster films every time out. So long as you're able to create entertaining content that people can enjoy, whether it's earning tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions, or even billions of dollars in the box office here. So, question here is, will this strategy bear fruit for the company, streaming company here, or will it have disastrous result here? So, I'll keep you in updated with the progress of HBO here. Anyway, continuing with our discussion, as mentioned, going now into tech news. As mentioned, Xiaomi is trying to, obviously make us a stake in the smartphone industry, competing with the likes of Samsung as well as Apple. It used to be the number three smartphone maker, used to be Huawei, but with the embargo that's happening, the hot on and off relationship between the U.S. and China government has exacerbated the situation, which is Huawei. Now, here comes in Xiaomi and a slew of other Chinese smartphone makers. You have Vivo and Oppo. So Xiaomi is trying to capitalize on its position in the marketplace and trying to capitalize by copying other smartphone designs, or whether that's constitute a copyright issue, it's for another discussion. We'll have to wait and see. But here, according to arstechnica.com, so Xiaomi clones the Galaxy Fold, which is, in fairness, I like the design. Actually, I was thinking of owning the first iteration when it was released way back then. But, as with any first iteration devices, there are a lot of issues that needs to be rectified. So I hold off buying it. Hopefully, the second or even third generation would be a better purchase at the time. Anyway, so continuing with the Xiaomi article here. So what's interesting, the Xiaomi maker is making it 40% thinner by as well as adding a bigger battery. And obviously, as with many issues with smartphones, with even the latest technologies, with the powerful processors, doing a lot of stuff, eats up a lot of power, and the battery doesn't, you're not able to recharge it quickly and not able to use it for long periods of time, in terms of days or even weeks would be the ideal here. So let's take a closer look here. So as you can see here in the photo, so it looks similar in terms of its design, a foldable phone similar to a Galaxy Fold, wherein if you fold it out, it would look a typical tablet here. Anyway, so let's see here. So it looks pretty similar, but in terms of the camera modules, looks different here. It has a 3 camera module here. I think there's a flash on top, and then a light as well. And then you can see here, the speaker is below. You have a USB Type C adapter, connector, so you can charge your phone. And one thing I like about the foldable screen or phone in this case is that the when you fold it, initially it's like a typical phone, so you can use it for normal use. But if you're into bigger real estate in terms of usage, productivity, or for any sort of entertainment or games, then once you open up the foldable phone, then that's where the possibilities are limitless there. But obviously the question here is the price, because at the end of the day, no matter how interesting the device, if it's too expensive, then it limits who can purchase those items here. Anyway, so let's take a closer look in terms of its specs here. So they're calling it the Xiaomi Mix Fold 2, which looks similarly with a Samsung Galaxy Fold. It follows the layout of the Galaxy Fold 4. So it's a book-style foldable that has a phone-like front screen and a tablet-like flexible inner screen, as mentioned earlier. But the interesting here is that it has a 40% thinner when folded up. So meaning it's lighter. I won't say, I don't know if it's lighter. Meaning in terms of its size, it's more packetable, so to speak. But thickness of foldable is a major concern, so it can be bulky as mentioned. And then the 16mm thick Galaxy Fold really fills out your pocket compared to normal smartphone, as mentioned. Now, not only that, the Mix Fold 2 is only a little over 11mm thick when folded up. Xiaomi is dramatically thinner than the Samsung, as mentioned, and also manages to fit in a slightly bigger 45 milliamp battery compared to just 4400 milliamps here. So it's not that big, but it's more usage time for the users here. And question here is, will a lot of people be enticed to buy the Xiaomi phone here? What's interesting here is you get a 120 hertz screen. It's 6.5 inch, which is close to better than 1080p. OLED screen, so that's pretty interesting. That's on the front side, and while the inner fold display is 120 hertz, which is much better. So gaming would be ideal here, maybe. And then the resolution is slightly higher at 2160 by 1914 OLED screen. And both screens are direct from Samsung display, which is kind of ironic. And the flexible display is made of flexible ultra thin glass that Samsung pioneered. Now that's my only issue with in terms of since you need to be able to fold your screen, so it cannot be used typical Gorilla Glass, so you have to use a different type of material here. And the question here is durability here. Once you use it over long periods of time, folding it on and off and so forth, how will it degrade the flexible thin glass that they're using here? You have pretty normal specs here, as mentioned, a Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, and then 12 gigabytes of RAM internally, and general storage of 256, 512 gigabytes, as well as 1 terabytes of storage. And it has cameras of 156-inch, 50 megapixel of Sony IMX766. Then there's a 13 megapixel ultra wide, and then an 8 megapixel 2x telephoto, and a 20 megapixel front camera. So question is, how much is it? There you go. It mentions here it's selling in China at 8,999 renminbi, or close to, or 9,000 renminbi. That's approximately around $1,300 US. So that's roughly 70,000 pesos here in the Philippines. I'm assuming they're going to charge it a little bit more, unless you smartphone cares like Smart or even Globe offers a better value deal here. Question here is, will you be interested in buying the Xiaomi Fold here on top of Samsung's Galaxy Fold here? We'll have to wait and see in terms of the reviews when it comes in. Anyway, next is, again, going to streaming services again. So it's not just HBO who's trying to consolidate their position in the streaming services. You also have Paramount Plus, which is lagging behind compared to big giants that, as mentioned, Disney, Netflix, and even HBO. I think Paramount only has less than 50 million subscribers. And in trying to gain traction, be more competitive in the streaming service, they're trying to partner with which has a big following here so that they can significantly increase their subscribers here. And in this case, they're trying to target Walmart here in terms of its Walmart shoppers here. And obviously, they have tens of thousands or even millions of shoppers here or loyal shoppers here. And if you can get that in one fell swoop, then obviously that would be a big plus for Paramount Plus. But obviously, if you're Walmart, there would be a benefit as to reason why they would partner with those two companies here. And obviously, Walmart is a retail giant, while Paramount is more into entertainment and providing content here. So it makes sense for two different companies, different industries to partner up to be able to capitalize. So I'm assuming Walmart is now interested in going into the entertainment aspect. So not just in terms of delivering goods and services in their stores, and now even providing entertainment as well here. Anyway, oops. Where the heck is it? Where's that article? I think kind of lost it. There you go. It mentions here Walmart has reached an exclusive deal with Paramount Plus to offer the streaming service as part of its Walmart offering. So Walmart Plus subscriber will get an ad-supported Paramount Plus subscription included. So obviously, giving them content is key, but obviously trying to engage them to pony up for ad-free content so that's where they make their money here. It mentions here Paramount CEO Global Bob Bakish has set a 100 million goal for Paramount Plus subscribers by 2024. Now, I don't know if they're going to do that, similar to how Disney has made a lot of inroads, especially they have the rights for the Star Trek franchise, which is they have destroyed for many of their cases with the Discovery and the real of Picard. I mean, I tend to watch the older series, primarily the Deep Space Nine. From time to time, maybe the TNG and even actually I haven't finished watching the original Star Trek series with William Shatner and the original cast there. But in this case, obviously they need to create a lot of tremendous content, not just contents for TV series, as well as I think they own the rights for is it Halo? Let me see here. Did they make Halo TV series? Halo TV series. Yes. So, like in the case of the Halo TV series, I mean, there were lots of potentials in terms of creating a original content, because obviously no one has ever tried making a TV series, or even they should have just focused maybe creating a standalone film or a series of films with Master Chief would have been more interesting. So it creates more mystery. And then the first thing that they did in the TV series is remove the helmet. The whole time when you're playing the game, which obviously the creators didn't even watch or even play the game in the slightest, appreciating the mystery behind the helmet, similar to how the Mandalorian character was, or maybe do justice in terms of building up when the right time, when the main character Master Chief, to know who that main actor would be or the face of that franchise here. And yet they try to do a lot of the boring stuffs of side characters rather than focusing on the Master Chief main character, because at the end of the day, fans of the game who play the game relates better to the main character Master Chief, and that's why I have big concerns. I forgot if it's Paramount or if it's Apple or Amazon who's going to produce the other popular franchise, which is Commander Ship. What's Mass Effect? Yeah. So again, similar to that, there are great potential, especially with the trilogy of those Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. So and so the ending of Mass Effect 3. But what's interesting is you can maybe deviate from that, but create a lot of strong supporting characters, the different aliens that will be the companion of Commander Shepard here. And there's always great opportunity, but disappointing as it is, similar to how the Halo franchise was, I won't say ruined, but it didn't meet its expectation. The game was even better than the TV series. That's what I think about it. And so creating tremendous content is always be the bottom line for any viewers if they're trying to gain 100 plus million subscribers. And I think many of the misnomers of those companies is, yes, gaining growth in terms of subscriptionship is interesting, but at the end of the day, if you don't retain those subscribers, if they leave after a month or whatever time, then you have to gain new traction, which is even more difficult to get new subscribers rather than maintain existing one here. Anyway, so meaning the deal between Paramount and Walmart, as its perks, Walmart Plus membership program, the companies confirmed. So customers who belong to the Walmart retailers program will get free access to an ad-supported plan. Obviously, this is to entice them to, as mentioned earlier, to pony up for the subscription for free, ad-free subscription here. And they have a slew of interesting, as mentioned, the Star Trek franchise, Paw Patrol, The Godfather. The Godfather, you may watch it a few times, but you won't. That's why the you always have to create new content. The back catalog is interesting, right? It's always key. But to retain your new customers or existing customers is creating better content here. And the Star Trek franchise, of how they driven it, to the ground. I mean, it's a wasted opportunities, which is obviously trying to cater to other fans, which is, are they Trekkie fans in the first place, or are they trying to do politics, which is a whole other discussion here. So they also have the Godfather as mentioned, SpongeBob SquarePants is another, and they have other interesting here. So they mentioned here that the program will cost $98, close to $100 per year. So that's a subscription of close to $13 per month here. Now, it will also include access to essential tier of Paramount Plus, which typically costs around $5 per month or $4.99. So Paramount also sells a premium product which without ads for $9.99 or $10. So again, they're trying to upsell you their service, which is, again, if you don't have tremendous content, doesn't matter if you have ad supported content or ad free at a higher fee, then no one would shell out those amount, because again, it goes back to the main issue of, it used to be you don't know which TV networks you're going to watch, whether it's CBS, NBC, or in here in case in the Philippines, is it ABC, GMA, or ABS-CBN here. And obviously you have to keep on flip-flopping the channels or the networks to be able to watch the content that you want. And obviously in terms of the streaming, it's the same issue all over again. If you want to watch a film, wouldn't it be nice to have just one place to be able to watch all of your films, TV series, all the catalogs? And I think I'll pay a pretty hefty amount for that content rather than subscribe to different net services or streaming services, and then again flipping to the different channels again, brings back the good old days of not being able to find what you want to watch at the end of the day here. What's interesting, Walmart mentions that it had a positive membership growth every month since its launch way back in 2020. Obviously, this coupled with the pandemic, but the retail giant has declined to share its subscriber total, obviously. Now, what's interesting, according to estimates by Market Research, Consumer Intelligence Research Partners, Walmart Plus had 11 million customers of July, the same as in April. So 11 million subscribers is not chump change, but still, it's nowhere still close to where they want to target or even compete with the likes of Disney as well as in Netflix here. And they have to, again, actually they may not need to partner with other companies here if they can get tremendous content. That's my opinion anyhow. And getting to 100 subscribers by 2024 will be a tall order at that. And I don't know if the current CEO will still be the CEO by then if that doesn't pan out. Anyway, next here for some local news. Again, networks we were talking about earlier. Now, here in the Philippines, ABS-CBN, who are still in limbo because of politics issues aside, and with the current administration, I don't know if they're going to help out the TV network who's being playing sides here, and you reap the consequences, which is for the next past administration and the current administration will be against any movement of said company here. But according to philstar.com, TV5 and ABS-CBN partnership is an antidote to monopoly, which is I don't know about that, because obviously there are only few players in the major network, whether in here in Asia as well as in the United States here. Now, the new partnership between ABS-CBN Corporation and TV5 Network can be an antidote to monopoly, as mentioned, contrary to what critics might of the deal might raise. But the question here is, who stands to benefit from this partnership? Will it be owned by a TV5 or will it be predominantly owned by ABS-CBN? And I think as of today's recording, there was an issue with regards to TV5, I think, and they have to settle that. And I don't know if the merger of the two companies or combination of the two companies will be able to will be allowed or will be grinded to a halt here. Now, according to Bas Banyo, chief of Signals TV1, I mentioned, I like to believe that on the contrary, this is even an antidote to monopoly, because in present situation there seems to be so-called monopoly because we know there is one TV network that seems to dominate the TV broadcast industry. Well, obviously, GMA is now dominant in their market because ABS decided to play politics, and chose to side on a particular candidate and pissed off the other candidate, and sad to say the other candidate won, and now they're reaping the benefits, or suffering through hell here. Now obviously ABS is still existing, but not to the position that they used to be here. Now they mentioned that the partnership would result in healthier competition, as television networks country will be forced to produce better programs to attract more. Well, I don't know about healthier competition, but at the end of the day, it's the type of content that we're always looking for, that is bottom line and king for many of us, viewers here. And it mentions that would help country's economy by creating jobs. It's not as if when ABS-CBN closed, there was a major drop off in terms of economy. Obviously, a lot of people lost their jobs, but obviously it creates opportunity for other companies to, create a new television network or buy off assets from ABS, and do off with the ABS-CBN network here altogether here. And question here is, will this go through? Will the partnership be able to go through? So it mentions that TV5 and ABS announced a deal. Sagip Party List Representative Rodante Marcoleta asked the Philippine Competition Commission, or PCC, National Communication or NTC, it is monitoring developments in the joint venture. And again, I think at the end of the day, it's all about politics. If the governments or the current administration will allow will it be a merger of the two companies? So still have to wait and see, and I'll keep everyone updated with the progress of the situation, which I think ABS has been trying to find a partner to be able to be able to continue producing its content for the masses here. Anyway, for our last topic, which is kind of interesting, so if you're into gaming, whether playing Sony PlayStation or even playing Microsoft Xbox or even Nintendo Switch, you'd encounter a lot of problems, during the pandemic and even early this year in terms of not being able to buy the console. Well, maybe with the exception of the Switch, but for the Sony and even Microsoft consoles, latest generation is not being able to find readily available units in particular here in our stores. And what's interesting this past few weeks or months, I've been inquiring in different stores, whether it be Data Blitz or even Game Extreme. I think that's Game Extreme, yeah. Asking if they have available stocks of said consoles, and they said they did. And in terms of pricing, it's kind of expensive. Around, I think for the PlayStation 5 for the with the disc unit, and they give you 2 3 games, and then I think one or two control. I forgot how many, but anyway, they're pricing it around 40,000, 41,000, which is kind of expensive compared, if you're just interested in buying the console itself. So they want to bundle it so that they can generate more sales, which is, their prerogative. But what's interesting here is, in this article, uh, according to the Verge.com, that PlayStation 5 is almost easy to buy nowadays, which is, I tend to agree based on my experience as well. But as of today's recording, there were reports, or there have been reported that Sony, with their grand wisdom, decided to push to increase the price of their console units, thinking because of there's high demand for their products. Well, the fact that there is available units already in the stores is not as easily sold as one would like to be. And even I am considering of buying a different console, not necessarily a PlayStation, even a Xbox, but more so of a handheld console, not the Switch, but the Valve Steam Deck here. But the sad case here in the Philippines, it's not readily available. And obviously, I tend to prefer portability rather than, just the games itself. And the fact that the PlayStation 5 has only been launched the past 2 years, and how many games have they released that you cannot play in your previous PS4? So is a lot of people excited to buy the PlayStation 5? Obviously, there are avid loyals who support the company. Even I have supported the company in the past, since its inception, from the PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, and even 5. And I still have my PlayStation 3 and my current PlayStation 4. And now, should I buy a PlayStation 5 in terms of its current games? I tend to buy the console at its latter part and cycle rather than at the start, so I can, take my time choosing buying the popular games that I really want to play. Not necessarily all of it, but majority of them here. And question here is, when you say it's not as quickly disappearing because of the abundance of the consoles, and obviously if they're going to increase the price, then that's a recipe that you're asking to have a lot of headache, because I think they mentioned in that article that they are going to increase in other parts of the world, with the exception in the United States. So which is kind of fishy in terms of why are they increasing it and what's their rationale, because of inflation. And that's not our problem here. That's part of doing business, because again, that's why I think at the end of the day, it's up to consumers to dictate what companies should be doing in the first place. And in this case, how much is a high enough price that we're not willing to tolerate? And hopefully, if they increase to their whims, then no one should buy it. Then let them suffer the consequences here, and let's see how they explain it to the masses, and especially with social media nowadays here. But at the end of the day, but if people continue to purchase their consoles regardless of the price, then it beholdens, or it emboldens the company to even increase the price even further, similar to how Apple strategizes their products, right? From the smartphones all the way to their laptops and even their desktops and accessories as well here. So obviously, it has to be a collaboration between the consumer as well as the companies for that strategy to succeed. And the fact that they've increased the price of the game, saying that it's more expensive now, from $60 to now $70 a game, which is, even though $10 is not significant, but they didn't have to increase it, right? because at the end of the day, companies are trying to leverage their digital platform or online platform so that they can make a boatload of money. It's not on the consoles where they make money, it's in the games per se. That's why I think, similar to what Valve is strategizing in terms of its pricing strategy. That's why the Valve Steam Deck is very competitive in terms of performance and price alone. It outcompetes with the likes of the Aya Neo and even the One X player. So even though it can compete on in terms of performance at some levels, but in terms of GPU and the pricing, half the price. And it's a concerted effort so that they can engage those customers, or us in particular, to buy the consoles, and they make their money in the back end in terms of buying the plethora of games here. And I think that's a great strategy for Valve here. And if Sony thinks they can get away with it, then we'll have to wait and see if their strategy would pan out in the near future here. Anyway, I think that's about it for today. Yeah, we have some comments today. Okay, it was mentioned there, baka sir, there are some IPs din baka magka-problemas sa mga may-ari ng rights or efficient para sa. Yeah, I won't say there will be any issue here. I think it's more on, similar as to what I mentioned regarding how Disney is segmenting their content. How Disney Plus is catering to family. I don't know more about Hulu. Maybe they're more on mature audiences. And then you have ESPN, which is focusing more on sports content here. And even in what HBO is trying to cater, then with the plethora of original series that they have, namely Game of Thrones, and the previous series that become popular in their content streaming is geared more on adult, but they're also created, they have TV shows that is geared towards for kids, which I don't see the point that they think that they should eliminate it. But I think it's an excuse because the content that they're providing is not making a lot of money. And I think it's their excuse of to cut it out, to remove it, just to say they want to focus more on these types of content. But take a look at Netflix, diba? They create a plethora of contents, a wide variety of contents, from action, comedy, to anime, to manga, whatever content, because you want to have a plethora, a variety of content to entice a wide range of audience here. And in order to retain them, you have to keep on adding more content, and having a catalog of existing films and TV series is nice at the beginning, but to retain their services, or even mine, is to keep on adding better content. And I think in the likes of Netflix, the recent one, what was the recent? Let me see here. They have a few, but it's a hit or miss in terms of their content.
So it's a misunderstanding. I'm gonna talk to you.
Like right now, I'm watching the Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Now they're showing the new TV series, The Sandman. I haven't seen that, so that looks interesting. What have I been seeing? Actually, if I were to look at continue my watching dashboard, I'm watching Star Trek. I'm watching Hunter x Hunter on and off, and then I'm watching, what else? Actually, there's a lot of old films that I've been watching. So old films that I've watched in the past and try to rewatch it. I tend to watch more older films than the current one. And I think for me, the older films tends to be more enjoyable than compared to the current ones here. But, that's just my taste here. Si Pansy Bob mentions also, speaking of today's news, Tech Alliance, T-Mobile, and SpaceX, Starlink will be using space-based cell reception to combat dead cells in the US. Yes, actually, that's the distinguishing offering of SpaceX, or in this case Starlink. But it's going to be expensive because it cannot it will not cater to everyone, especially rural areas. as well as if you're off the grid, especially if you're in yachts, boats that's on the ocean. So it makes much more sense to offer that. And obviously, being able to offer it in a mass scale, like what PLDT Globe or even Smart is offering nationwide, will be totally different. That's why the infrastructure for satellite is reliable, yes, but it's going to be expensive. Now, what's interesting is flying drones using satellite technology to relay the GPS location. How they do it? Is it are they doing it for free, or is there a partnership that they pay a certain fee? I don't know how that works, but it's interesting how telecommunication is working nowadays and making it easier for us to connect with our families and loved ones. Not just across the ocean, but worldwide as well here. Anyway, thanks for your comment and feedback. So hopefully we'll get more comments in the near future. Anyway, hopefully if you have questions, feel free to leave your comments down below and I'll try to read them at the end of the show here. Anyway, I think that's about it for this week. Anyway, come back again on Friday for more business news here. Also, you can check out my other contents every Monday for my day checklist, as well as Wednesdays for business update here. And there's a lot of interesting topics that's going to be discussed in the coming weeks as well. So, as always, I'll see you everyone in the next one. Take care.